Could a daily practice of pranayama in the afternoon be equally or less beneficial compared to a morning practice?
See, first thing is afternoon, there should be gap of 4 hours after meals. And there are certain limitations, no doubt about it, the evening practices. So, morning is very good, provided you are not constipated. If it is there, then the better evening.
So, question about sort of meditation or concentration on the breath. When focusing on the breath at the navel, is it the natural breath only, or would it be a controlled breath?
No, natural.
Yeah. Is it the physical sensation we want to focus on, or could it be a visualization?
You know, Patanjali is very, very clear about it. The point is not what is the object of your focus. The point is whether that makes you focused. That is most important. As you remember the story of Buddha, I always tell that someone came to him who was staying with him. Buddha asked him, what brought you here? He said, today I am very much disturbed. What is the reason? Why you are disturbed? He said, what, something which I don't want it is happening. What is that? He says, every day I meditate upon your face. And today it is happening, whenever I try to meditate on your face, my wife's face comes. I remove it, but again that comes. So this is the problem, because I want to meditate on you. Buddha said, throw away Buddha. Meditate on the bright. See, if it helps you to become centered. So the object is not important. The important is what makes you closer to that object. So someone came to my teacher, said, I want to meditate on Krishna. He said, no, meditate on Christ. It is closer to you. Anytime if conflict is created between meditation and the object, you will lose if the object is not of your choice. Meditation will be defeated. So always try to select your object which is close to you.
And is there a recommendation for how long to do a kind of a sitting practice like that each day?
Sitting practice means what?
Even just
Asana or in pranayama or in meditation.
Meditation technique style. Like that, watching the breath, object of focus, getting focused.
See, minimum should be at least 15 minutes. Remember, Patanjali is so open. He has said even Sapna Nidra Dhyanalambanam. Even if you had a dream which you are unable to forget and you like it most, try to meditate on that. If you had a beautiful sleep, that has become a part of your memory, try to concentrate on that. Or you have heard someone is speaking and it has stimulated you inside. Try to meditate. And further, he's so liberal. See what he says. He says, maybe whatever I have said, it does not help you to go into meditation. Then, yatha vimata dhyanadva. Select your own. It doesn't want to impose anything, and that is true. You should not impose. Whatever it is, you can concentrate on, but it should help you to become centered. So object is not important. Don't give any importance to that, but give importance what is close to you, what can easily catch you.
What is the role of sexual sensations in the practice of pranayama, hatha yoga in general?
Means I could not understand.
The role of... You want me to interpret it? The role of sexual sensations. I suppose if there's some stimulation in the sexual area, is that part of it? Does that come up in practice, or how would you relate that to practice?
You should see, the thing is, you should be very, very clear why it is happening. And during the meditation, two things cannot go together. A beautiful simile is given that you can puff your cheeks and laugh at the same time. Either you will laugh or puff your cheeks. So, you have to select what is most important.
I know they want to know more than that. You're going to have to write it in more detail. And then what is the sensation or experience when Kundalini is awakened?
1,000 times greater than sex experience.
And that's all the questions I have. So you want to go into the book, or you want to go to any questions?
No. Let us talk a little about the book.
Yeah.
A part. See, in the fourth chapter, as I said, Hatha yogic terminology is little different than the Patanjali terminology. Though they mean the same. But first I go ahead, I will like to answer this question about Kanda. And Paul will help me, so he will narrate, because we discussed just everything.
So, just like Matthias is asking, from the description in the Hatha Pradipika, you see, if you're talking about this location of 3 fingers below your navel, it's really just a landmark. And I think part of the confusion is getting caught up with navel and the front of the body, because really if you were to cut open and dissect, you're going to find reproductive organs, obviously the bladder, etc., and intestines, right? So where's your khanda, where's your egg as such, or whatever, ball. So trying to get more specific to it, right, because it's not a nerve in and of itself, but at the same time it's a bundle collection, as is described there, the source of nadis. So if you're to try to relate it to modern anatomy or physiology, then you have to go to the spine, and inside the spinal column, where, because the spinal cord ends at the navel level. So all this discussion on the navel is really about the ending of the spinal cord, and at that end of the spinal cord, out come all the lumbar and sacral nerves, which continue to protrude from the spine bone itself, right? So now you kind of gather that back, and what you have is like a little cave there as well, which is filled with fluid, right? Cerebrospinal fluid. So, in terms of there being a sort of and of course the sacral nerves go right to the pelvic floor, as well as for women the vaginal walls. And so when you're doing your mula activity, or Kegel, or Ashwini, you're really contracting S2, S3, a type of pudendal in the pelvic floor at your perineum, but also vaginal wall area. A male will feel it in a similar location on the male body. So hence, it's not just a flat surface of your pelvic floor, but a kind of a circular zone that isn't a solid, but obviously it's circular in terms of sort of sensation and source. But all that is back into the cavern. It's a cistern even in the spine. So if one is experiencing through practice other sensations, they're going to happen in that area into the spine, to the spinal cord. Though the landmarks are navel, just below it. You know, if you're talking about chakra location and you're pointing out these points, you're still talking landmarks on the front of the body. That's why yesterday, even on solar plexus, it's just a bundle of nerves that are peripheral, up high above your navel. You know, they're not, though they influence it, they're not part of the process. So the difficulty is trying to relate that word kanda to a specific object, but again, it might be just a more virtual form, right? That in any sense, all the lumbar sacral nerves coming out pretty much control all the activity from the navel waist down, right? So that's sort of what we're getting into and where this practice might come to. So you might say, okay, 3 inches there, but you're just again getting a sight that's really in the spinal column. But again, that's a hypothesis. Because if you dissect, so you have to go with experience and practice and sensation, etc.
This was a very good try of relating an ancient energetic perception to modern anatomical view, and it makes a lot of sense. But if we stay on the energetic level, in this subtle body, and I'm not sure if this is correct, I have a German translation of the Hatha Pradipika, and in the introduction they say that in the Upanishads they give the heart as the source of the nadis, and that only later they give the kanda as the source of the nadis. Do you know anything about that? That there was like a change in the view from.
But which Upanishad?
I don't
was
know.
it a yoga Upanishad or the classic?
In a classic.
Maybe the description is there sometime. But that is not the only source of nerves. Kanda also is there.
But you see, the heart, again, of course, is very important. Anyway, come on. Obviously, it's key from a circulation point of view, right? And these things are tied up.
Yeah.
Nervous system, circulation, etc. But there's a particular blood flow to these particular areas. And so look at what you're doing in practice between manage and bandhas, having a focus. You know, there's a channel. It's just like if you did that in your focus on a particular thing, or you know, it would show a different area in the brain, right? So there's blood flow to particular areas. There's the enrichment of the sacrum, you know, that is often considered. Why are some of these positions even done, you see? And you know, if I refer to Paschimottanasana, what is even in the Hatha Pradipika, how it says the Pavana moves along the spine, right? So a position like that, Pashima, the west, it's put in a particular emphasis in the pelvis to sacrum. Again, average yoga, it's like, oh, stretch your legs, pull, But the real emphasis is curve, draw, okay? But back to that kind of management of that area, yeah? And again, not because it's affecting something below your navel, but because of its long-term guidance, management towards that sacral lower lumbar region. Yeah.
I think the reason why I'm so hung up with the Kanda is that
Kanda man.
I see
That's what we call you.
I see it identical to the lower Dantian in Taoism.
Yeah.
And the
Hatha.
Chinese have put a lot of research on the energetic aspect of the lower Dantian, and if that is really identical, the Kanda would be the source of all our original life energy in the body. So it would be a deeper, much deeper basin and source for our prana than anything else, even deeper than the chakras. And so it makes also sense, the umbilical cord is in that area, so it's kind of the creation from the universe goes there, and this is like our original bank account from which we live, and then finally we leave the body again. So for me the Kanda is totally estimated in the general yoga approach, because people focus so much on the chakras, which for me are much later level energetically. So for me the Kanda is really the source in us, and when the Kundalini is looked at, they say this is dormant Shakti, and that's the same picture. This is dormant Shakti waiting there to be awakened, to reunite with Shiva at the top. I know it's a tantric view, and so for me the Kanda would deserve much more attention from the yogic approach than it is getting, whereas in the Taoist approach or Chinese medicine or even Chinese healing, it is much more centerpiece. That's just to explain why I'm so focusing on the Kanda.
See, remember one thing, you have to go to the root. What is Kanda? In Sanskrit, Kanda means something which is grown underground. And that becomes Kanda, not something solid. In pelvic floors, nothing is there. But whatever we describe, from where the sensation go and stimulated and go, that is in Tantra, it is not called Kanda, it is called Shakti Peeth. Shakti Peeth is where the whole power is there and more spread all over your body. So, from that point of view, we arrived conclusion. Physically, you can't prove so far, but whatever was closest, we discussed and arrived that conclusion. Let us see.
And all our practices are actually focusing here. I know a modern hip kind of yoga talk is, hey, chakras and things, because it's kind of flashy, grabs attention, and you can do la la la, all those things with it. But look at practice. I mean, the management of the breath is from here. Many of the practices are controlled.
Yeah.
If you ask me how you totally manage asana, is all from there. Even though you can get away with all these other things, it should be managed from there. And so that, by its own nature, is impacting that energetic source, whatever name you want to call it, Kanda, the root, Dantian, Hara, etc. there's
Just
another
a little
point about
more
to come out.
this
And I
Shakti
forgot, yeah.
Peeth, because I've not come
In
across
Tantra.
that.
I don't want to confuse you.
Please.
Kanda, retain the word Kanda. Shaktipeeth, what they have said, you must have many times, if you have referred the tantric book, they have a triangle. That is Shaktipeeth.
I will look at it.
So in fourth chapter, I think we will have to tomorrow start and finish both. First, few sloka up to 16, they are devoted only some similes. Like Pavano Badhyate and Manastene Badhyate, the technique which controls the prana, same technique to be applied to control the mind. Manoyasta Viliyate, means they have all given similes, so I have requested him just to read in English so that everyone can hear, and if there is any doubt, I am there to try to remove it. And then after that, most important part of is Nadanusandhan and 4 stages of Nishpatti, Samadhi, 4 stages. First, he called the beginning state. Second, he called state where you become aware about different part of the body. Indirectly, he means of the chakras, awakening of chakra. And third is introductory state. And introductory state, then it is just like Patanjali has designed, told us 4 stages of samadhi. And Nishpatti is the final state of samadhi, you can say Nirvij samadhi. Just as Patanjali says, there is a Sampradya, Sampradya, Sabij, Nirvij. Bij means seeds. Sabij, still sanskars are there. And Nirvij and sanskars are burned. And just like he expresses the first Asampradya. Asampradya, what happens when you suppose practicing nicely and something has started happening. First thing will be, you will become the person of vitarka. Means, as I think I have explained this, in Indian logic, there are 3 shades. First is tarka, simple logic. Simple logic, just like everybody has a habit to discuss and argue, to pass time. Take some problem of the country or another country are discussing, but no purpose is there, no goal is there. It is a simple logic, tarka. Then there is kutarka. You are illogically logical. You want to defeat another person. Whatever it is, you will never accept that you are wrong, other is wrong. And third is the vitarka. Vitarka means the pure logic, a really sattvic logic, where if you think you are not able to understand or you are wrong, you accept immediately. And that vitarka was the means for discussion of one philosophy with another philosophy, always. And whichever was, say, for losing, will accept in their view, and that will start, the new philosophy will start there. So this, he says, when you practice, your attitude changes. You don't want to waste time. You want to use few words and you want to be a person. Automatically that growth is there. You want to be a person of vitarka. What does it mean? Indirectly your thinking is reducing. You are coming to a point where only necessary words which are required to explain your viewpoint, that is used, not more. Like a sutra of Patanjali. Then it is vitarka, vichar. Again, there is no crowd of thoughts. Crystallized thinking, which is necessary. Only those thoughts are coming. The first stage of samadhi. Vitarka, vichar, ananda. It gives you a feeling of ecstasy. It gives you a feeling of inside joy. This is the growth. This is the first stage. Just like he says in pranayam, kaniyasi bhavet sveda. In the beginning, when we are progressing in pranayam, sometimes perspiration will come. Here in the state of, when you cross the meditational state, vitark, vichar, ananda, but still he says, asmita will remain. A good positive sense of I will remain. There are two words, ahankar, pure ego, where no question of giving doesn't come, total possession. But asmita has a possibility of sharing that. So he said this will be the first stage, just like, and here also we said that in the beginning stage this will happen. You will be joyous, luster will be on your face, you will be very simple, you will be very calm. These things will called in the first stage. So these four stages are there. And then as you go deeper, you start becoming with yourself. Just like in Om Stavan, he says the last, apne aap apne mein. You are within yourself, with yourself. Nothing is there to disturb you at that time. Then you are in the society a better person in the society. Not that you leave the society, social life or family life, but you are better. Now you know, a perception is better. You understand the problems nicely and intellect starts ruling. It gives you real help. Mind is left behind. So these we will discuss in detail. This is the most important part of the fourth chapter, where he describes that these you pass with the four stages. Just like Patanjali said, Sampradyan, Sampradyan, Sabid, Nirvid. When he calls of Sabid, Sabid means the sanskaras are still there. Your effect of karma is still there. You are still getting the result of karma. Karmasha is active. But you have become much peaceful, you understand, and you don't have any remorse that whatever results are coming of karma, you happily go with it. But then comes the final stage comes when no karma, no sanskar are there and all the beads are burnt. So different stages these Patanjali describes, here also described, Bhakti also described, Karma Yoga also described, names will be different. But stage is the same. And different speciality of, in Hatha Yoga is, they want you to be healthy. And they think that unless you are healthy, the initial stage of practices, if some obstruction comes, it will take away your mind. Mind will take you away from practices. So that is why there is a beautiful couplet, Sharir Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhana. Your health is the basis to practice the spirituality. Sharir Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhana. Therefore, it came that your breath plays a very important part, and breath can always be corrected with the practices of asana, pranayama, pratyahara, etc., etc. And that is one of the reasons. They have given, when Hatha Yoga came, they only not concentrated on the spiritual, but they felt that unless you are healthy, you cannot practice further. It always will be a disturbance. As Patanjali said, Vyadistyan sansaya pramadhalasya veratidya bhranti darsana anavastya tattvan chitta vikshepaste anta. These are the reasons through which your chitta will be disturbed. And Hatha Yoga gives answer to that. Though indirectly Patanjali also has talked about the Ashuddhi, but he has not given any, he has given the order in a spiritual way. While the Hatha Yoga gives you answer in the way of these practices, asana and pranayama. Hatha Yoga says that health is very important, and unless you are enjoying real health, happy inside, you cannot practice further. There will be different, just like Patanjali said, Dukha daurmanasya angame jaya. Dukha means you may feel sad, depressed. Daurmanasya, you can't concentrate. Angame jaya, body may tremble. Swas prashwas, respiratory some disorder. These can occur because of the first vyadhi. Something happens, then it also affects your attitude. Vikshepa sahabhava, they are the side effect of those main problems. Hatha Yoga takes care for that and warns you that should not happen. And that is why the concept of kriyas have been brought to purify not only nalis but also the body. So this happens, and kriyas, nadi shodhan pranayam, then different type of pranayam. If vata is there, suryavedan. If pitta is there, shitali, like that. There, and Bhastrika does both the things. Murcha is purely spiritual. But this is the approach they have said, and that they have made it like a compulsory that from physical point of view, because the physical affect the psychological, psychological affect the physical. So they have in both, in Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga, they have given the same attitude that you must care for your health. It is a very famous saying accepted by all, Sharir Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhana. Unless your body is healthy, these practices, this will, any vyadhi, any disease, any disorder will act as an obstacle. Yes, you will win over when you have realized that vyadhi will not have any effect. Say Raman, he was having cancer. He did not allow anesthesia to be given and the thing was operated. That condition is different. But in the initial stages of practice, it is necessary that you should take care of your body, you should take care of your mind.
So tomorrow we read from that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll do some reading of some of the shlokas through chapter 4, and as things come up, you can ask, and he'll also qualify. Good. Any questions?
Details.
Not detailed. He was just comparing what Patanjali says about the 4 stages, and tomorrow we'll pull out what Hatha Yoga says. The guy, you had a question earlier. Was it gone?
It was just related to the discussion between you three. I was very much enjoying following it, but excuse my ignorance, and I know you tried to touch on this. I'm still not entirely sure what the kanda actually is in a sort of simple explanation.
Simple language.
See, kanda is something which, where also many nerves are attached, and give, when activated, becomes the source of vigorously pranic movement. And then immediately affects the kundalini, sushumna, enter into sushumna. That is why kanda has been given very much importance. Indirectly, your Agnisar, Udyan, they all try to help in their direction.
And the one point that slipped my mind to make earlier, following it, and just following up on what you were saying, is regardless of Shiva Shakti and all these power things, whatever, if we just look at our form evolutionarily, because the activity actually started here, later limbs forming, coming out. If you're an evolutionary person, there might be a creationist who, I don't know. But so even when they do some studies, they do it just on little, like what they call lampreys or little things, yeah. And